everybody? Welcome to the Wingin IT podcast. Jack, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I cannot complain. How about yourself?
I am making it, and by making it, I mean some of y'all really need to chill out about this Deadpool and Wolverine. Uh, Shadow, how you doing, man?
Driving in the rain, but I'm all right.
All right. RJ, how you doing? As always, what are you playing, Jack?
Right now I playing Returnal. I've never touched it. It's on PSN, so free download. I as a roguelike game, I kind of like what I'm playing so far. I haven't really gotten too deep into it. I think I just fought against like my first, I guess you can call it a boss. At the end of the first biome, lost of course, but but I got down to like the little last power bar, so I know what to expect. But it's an interesting game. But then outside of that, I think I'm going back to One Piece Warriors. I haven't. I was playing that for a while, and they were dropping DLC, so I was like, well, let me pump brakes and let them finish doing what they're doing, and I'll pick back up on it because I was playing it with my son because he had all the DLCs with the Gear 5,
Okay.
DLC, and then also I know they just added like Gold Roger and everything else on there too. So those are the two I've been on. I've tried to get back into 2K. Anytime I play, at the end of the game, I get stuck on the connect screen with the VC, and yeah, so it's like I put it down. It is what it is. But yeah, those are the two games: Returnal and One Piece Warriors.
Okay, I got to get back into One Piece Power Warriors myself. I got to finish that
Mm-hmm.
one out. All right, Sandstorm. What about you? What you been playing? And we can't hear you. Shadow, what you been playing?
No, man. Well, you already know. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. My favorite game of all time, it appears like now, is Streets of Rage 4.
Mm-hmm.
But believe it or not, I got into Sea of Stars not too long ago. And playing through that is pretty interesting.
Okay.
I like the way the combat is a little bit different there. Um, and finishing up God of War Ragnarok. So just a couple of games trying to go through here and there. Um, I think I'll go ahead and jump into Returnal again. You know, the $70 1080p game. So I'll try to I'll try to give my impression on that shortly here once I'm done with God of War. But it's just been I can't stay away from Streets of Rage 4 for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you addicted.
Yeah,
I don't I
yeah.
can't stop playing it. It's just so fulfilling to me, and I don't know, man. But all I know is all of y'all out there, man, find y'all a game like that. Whatever game that is, like that's your comfort food. Find that thing and play it. It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
a guilty pleasure. Just something that you just love to play because it's
yeah.
fun. So
I
for
need
a while,
something
I
like
think
that.
that yeah, I think that was Bayonetta 2 for me for a while. Like, I think I played the hell out the demo over and over again. Even after I had the game, I went back and played the demo on Wii U because for whatever reason, just that the pace of the demo was better than that part of the game because you didn't have to worry about the cut scenes and all that being all long and everything. You could just jump
Mm.
straight into the action and restart whenever you wanted to. So, but no, definitely, everybody go buy 7 copies of Streets of Rage 4 right now, and you'll be okay. Uh, that and Maximilian is making me want to play Killer Instinct again. Um,
Oh man.
so that made between him and Jay trolling me on Twitter. Um, I'm gonna have to jump on that.
What
So
did I do? Hint, hint.
it's almost like embedded in almost every reply you give to me. So I have to jump on that and I guess make a video about it at some point too. Just come out at all 3 of the seasons and which season I like the best and all that. So, but
Okay.
no, this is it. Just me gaming.
All right. Sandstorm, can we hear you now? Mic check.
Should be able to.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
there
you
we
good.
go. All right.
Yeah.
What you been
I keep
playing?
forgetting that this thing gets unplugged. So D4 as usual, Diablo 4. I'm at it again with Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel.
Okay.
I'm at level 19. Is 7:05. I got 5 hours to get to level 20. All I have to do is win 3 games. That's all I got to do. And every single time it gets to 11:59 with 2 games won, and somebody will sit on that third game. Sit on it and so disrespectfully like
Mm.
you ain't getting in here. You ain't getting in here. So I feel like this time around I have a good chance of actually making it because this is like a specific tournament. Can't use any fusion cards, no
Boo.
synchro
Oh, wow.
cards, no pendulum cards. Like
Boo.
all it is XYZ monsters, and the king of XYZ is Cashier all day. So I'm running with that deck, and that deck is so easy to play. Like I don't know if you play Jack, but like play that deck. That's like the easiest to understand. It's the easiest to manipulate. It's the easiest to overpower anybody in the game.
Okay.
So if you're like not like super savvy on like chess moves and stuff like that, just run with that. And watch like a couple combo videos and you'll get it like straight up. So went back into Star Ocean till the end of time on PS2. Been playing that. Really hating that game. Like that game was in my top 10 games like easily. Like if you would have asked me before I started it again, and I must have like when you're a kid, like growing up in that age, the things that like are so like standard now back then are like it's just hard for you to go back there. So
Right.
I went to this area where I had to go like through 3 different like big areas, and then they were like then I met this person and he was like, oh, in order to continue forward you need to go get this item. This item is actually 5 areas back, so we don't have a fast travel in this game, so you're gonna have to walk back. What?
Mm.
Then you gotta walk all the way back, pick it up from a boss, and then walk all the way forward. And the person so there's an area, one of the areas that are like kind of fast travel you to the other area, but he doesn't come back after that. Like once he fast travels you back there, he's like, nah, I ain't doing this again. So you're gonna have to walk your way back up there. Right?
Wow.
You like, for real. Okay, now I see why this game is long. It's not long because there's actual content. It's long because you gotta walk through.
Yeah.
The perfect example of a current day walking simulator. That is exactly what that game is. But yeah, so playing that and still pushing forward with Parasite Eve. We're in Chinatown. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll see how that goes.
All right. Andre, what about you?
Well, I was playing the Cat Quest 3 demo. I'm mostly through Cat Quest 2, so I just did that so I could post a video of it. And I've been back on fighting games as of late, so I was playing a lot of King of Fighters.
Oh, okay, cool. So I've been playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate.
How was that?
It's actually not bad. I'm enjoying myself. If you like Hades, I think you'll like it. I really do. I've been soloing it, so it's getting. I think I got to Karai, and she cheats. So finally got past her like yesterday, and so yeah. But I'm still enjoying it because I just like the way it's set up, and I don't really like roguelikes. Y'all know that, but this one, because I'm a TMNT head, I had to get it. It was kind of like I had to. So yeah, it sounded like if they would make an X-Men roguelike, I'd get that too. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So but yeah, I'm actually liking how this is set up because it's based off the comic series that they did, the comic arc they did. So I like that. I messed around and tried out multiverses, and yeah, I'm gonna need people to stop trying to do Smash Brothers, man. I'm just gonna need y'all to stop because I don't know what it is, but multiverses just feels slow.
So it's not as quick paced as.
It feels slow to me. Like, so I was playing with Shaggy and Wonder Woman because they had like a timer for you to check people out. So I played Shaggy and Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman feels good. Shaggy feels slow as all hell, but the whole game feels slow. but I'm like, y'all tried. I'll give them props. They tried. I still think PlayStation All Stars is probably the best plagiarized version of
Oh,
Smash Bros.
okay. I didn't know where you was about to go with that. I'm like, sure.
It's the best plagiarized version of Smash Bros. But yeah, multiverse is kind of it's alright, but I'd rather play with Smash. I've
And
also
and think they made people pay for that beta.
they did. They really did. And I've also been playing Trails Through Daybreak and First Descendant. I'm still playing First Descendant. I'm actually enjoying First Descendant way more than I thought I would.
Okay.
I know some people say it's a Destiny on Warframe clone, but I don't care.
Right, as you should not.
Yeah, and the whole throwing in of the Colossus, I actually like that because that makes it different. That makes it different enough, to keep things interesting. So I'm taking my time through that because I know how those games are meant to take your time. If you blow through them, then you get mad because you have to wait on content. I really take my time. So,
which I never understood that. Like,
yeah.
know how this, like, they expect you to play this content until they release something. You blowing through it makes no sense.
So I'm just taking my time. I'm playing.
When did the servers ever clear up?
They've been fine. Like the server problem happened the first day.
Yeah.
And then it cleared up. Then it cleared up by that second day. So I haven't had a problem since.
Yeah, I mean, and even
Okay.
I didn't have any issues when I started playing it, and then they give you so much because of the server issues. Like, you get so much free stuff behind it.
And not sorry free stuff, like actual good free stuff
good
that
stuff.
actually helps you. Like, so yeah. There was that. I haven't tried. I saw some people. I teamed up with some people so the crossplay does work, but it was I was on my Xbox, so I haven't played with anybody on PlayStation. I have played with people on PC. So
I've played with people on PlayStation and PC together several rounds. It worked smoothly.
Okay, yeah. So because I didn't have any problem either, because the people I did my first Colossi fight with, that was all PC and me. I was the only console person on there. I like how they had that above your head, so you can tell like who's on PC, who's on Xbox, and all of that. So I kind of like that. So all right, let's get into tonight's topic. First things first, we got some more remasters. Yeah, people, we are in the remaster years. We are in the remaster years. So first things first, it is rumored that Tales of Xillia, as you can see on Push Square, is heading for remaster. And for this one, the product listings that they've uncovered is for across PS5, PS4, Switch, and Xbox. So I'm pretty sure that means PC as well. Tales of Xillia originally released for PS3 in 2011. So that's one thing. Now, the reason why I bring this up and the reason why the title of this episode is because back in the 7th gen, we were told that 1080p 60 frames a second was the standard. And all these games supposed to have been in that. Why are we remastering stuff that's supposed to already be HD?
Yeah.
Because it's got to be made HDer.
Right.
There you go. That's a proper term for it. HDer.
Now, I can understand coming to Switch because it didn't come to a Nintendo console. I can also understand it coming to Xbox because it didn't come to a Microsoft console. I can understand that. I don't understand what they're gonna do for PS5 and PS4, honestly.
I think it's just a way to get some money in. If I got to release it on the other two, if they plan to release it on the other two, might as well get our bids in with the PlayStation crowd too.
Well, but it's already. I'm sorry, it was already supposed to bid at 1080 60 frames a second. That's what I was told.
Hey, we were all told a lot of things, sir.
Well,
you see where we're sitting.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
They'll switch it up and say it's the internal resolution has to be increased now.
Right.
I mean, PS3 was supposed to use 2 screens, but it didn't. So
it's true.
Hey, there's a lot of things.
True. Now, I will say Tales of Exili is one of my favorite Tales games. It's not the one I would bring over, but it's one of my favorites. So
Right. I mean, I think this is like the easy route a lot of companies are going to go. I don't know if they're using this as a means to soften the blow for the next big title that's from them. Um, that seems to be the route, opposed to just releasing like a new AA budgeted game, like something that's a little bit on the smaller scale to say, okay, look here, we'll let you have something while you wait for our bigger project. I think at this point, hey, let's get a team together. You go remaster that game that was a banger back on PS2, PS3, PS4, and let them eat on that until we ready to release what we want to release.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, and we've all known this because this has been stated a bunch of times, these games taking longer and longer to create because of the simple fact that gamers want all the stuff in it, and it takes forever. So we're probably gonna have to get that. Now, personally, I don't have a problem with anything from the 6th gen and the Wii getting remastered because all that was SD. I don't have a problem with that. My problem becomes when you start telling me that the HD stuff needs to be remastered. I'm like, because you said back then that it was what you're saying is now. So were you lying back then? Because that's the same thing. And once again, I can understand it coming to Switch. I can understand it coming to Microsoft because it wasn't on those systems. So I can understand it. Like, I just
can't see them leaving food on the table like that. Yeah, people will purchase it.
Oh yeah.
So why not just why not drop it now? I'm with you. Like this is kind of what we had, and this could be played on your PS5. You can pop that disc in and play it. But I mean, they'll throw something in there that's a little bit more enticing to have you go out and spend that cash if you still have it. That is
probably quality of life stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's something to get them in.
Well, and this is what I've been finding with most of these remasters. They don't do quality of life. A lot of them don't. Like you be like, they just straight up they make it pretty and all that stuff. And one of my big complaints about Metroid Prime Remastered is I'm like, bruh, y'all should have gave us a fast travel option because a lot of that stuff in that game is a lot of backtracking. And my thing is just give us fast travel between the save stations.
Would that hurt? Would that hurt Metroid?
No,
not really. No.
Hell no.
The way that game's mapped out, no, you could fast travel and it'd still be a decent amount of gameplay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're still gonna have to wind up fighting something when you walk out that doggone room. You walk out that damn room.
The only thing I could think of that it might break is the cutscene order, but that's not like the worst thing ever.
Yeah. That's what I was like. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of times when we do like when they say the whole quality of life, I'm like a lot of these remasters don't have that. Like they really don't.
Okay. Yeah.
I think the best one that did was Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Those quality of life change. They had quality of life stuff in there. Because let's be real, the original that map was horrendous. Game was fun. The map was horrendous.
I would say this for games like that where you talk about sequence breaking and stuff like that. That stuff, a lot of those protections are already in there because when you go through the game, it'll give you an area that's walled off, or it'll say you can't do this at that time or whatever. They kind of already played through it to test to see, hey, look, well, this will be severely broken if we leave this sequence open this way. So I would imagine they will find a way around it. Like if you could do you could walk whenever you wanted to. It'll just be, hey, if we're waiting on you to walk back somewhere for a cutscene to play or something like that, or to further the story because we're going to change the map somehow or whatever, but you got to go here first, they'll block off or they'll temporarily disable you being able to go from point to point. The same, it happens in RPGs too, like in like Xenoblade and stuff like that. They'll say at this point you cannot travel to this area, but any other time in the game you could. So there's ways around it. It requires a lot of gameplay testing.
Right.
Yeah.
So for this one, this is the one that was on PS3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm a little bit more accepting on this one because I mean you can't do PS3 on PS5, so I guess I'm a little more accepting on that.
I mean, that does, because I don't know if they want to use PSN for that.
Yeah, and from my experience with anything backwards combat is not always the cleanest.
Good,
because I mean, even with me wanting to play the Warriors again. Like there's like bugs all over that game, and then sometimes to where certain areas you just kind of lose color.
A
And then
PS2 game? Or you
yeah,
talking about the
like
Xbox version?
no, I'm talking about the PS2 one because
Wow.
I rebought it on PlayStation Network, so it has its hiccups and it has slowdown. And then even on Xbox, when I bought Fight Night Champions, sometimes your character is just fully black. Like there's like it's just this weird bug to it. So I mean, I can understand on certain games, I guess you just can't do it. I don't know. And from I mean, what they've always told us, PS3 is a little bit harder than your average
Mhm.
to kind of I guess emulate because even the emulators for it are still kind of rough. So I don't know, man. I mean, maybe we'll see. We'll see what they do with it. But
Yeah, it was just that one was interesting to me because I know like Namco Bandai's been doing a lot of remasters, but then again, a lot of their stuff was
mhm,
tied strictly to like Sony or just if it wasn't just
yeah.
on Sony, it was like so they're probably like missing out on chunks of money that they like let's see if
Oh
we can
yeah.
at least make a little bit back. So
So for I mean, I know there was more than just one. So I mean, I guess was this the better one? Because
so
I know
Tales
there's
of
a two.
Exilia, yeah, there's two for Tales of Exilia. There's two of them. The first one
Right.
is the better one. The second one,
Ah, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Personally, from that whole era, I think Tales of Grace's F is the better one.
Okay.
As far as story and because they changed up the fight, the combat system in that one.
Hmm.
Hilariously enough, Tales of Graces is actually on the Wii. It came out on the
Yeah, I
Wii,
see
but
that.
of course, that's back when Reggie was telling everybody they know what everybody want, and people was like, "Well, why don't y'all bring that over here?" And crickets. So Sony did the HD version, Tales of Grace's F, and brought that over.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, yeah, that's the one they probably should. I probably would have did first instead of Exilia, just because Exilia, you kind of need two for the whole. You didn't need both of them for the whole story, but the first one is the way better one.
Okay. Yeah,
Way
I'm
better
always
one.
curious about that. To where when you choose to remaster a game, they go with one over the other.
Yeah,
I've always been curious about what makes you choose, but usually it's what you were saying. Like one is just always known to be the better one over the
yeah.
other.
So I don't know if they plan on doing two. I kind of envision it kind of like Onimusha. Like they only remastered only the first Onimusha, even though the third one, the Demon Siege, is probably the better one. I probably would have did a whole pack of all four like they did with Devil May Cry. I probably would have
Right.
did a whole pack instead of just doing the first one. But
Okay.
Capcom is allergic to money, so they
Yeah, I've
are.
always been very curious about that Tale series because even looking here on Google, bro, that it date back. So
Oh,
I wouldn't
Tails,
even know how to say it, like Tales of Rebirth, Tales of Innocence,
yeah,
Tales of Destiny, Tales of
and,
Rays. Like,
yeah, like,
jeez.
and there's like games that only came out in Japan and only
Right.
on the handhelds. That's in the thing, and I'm like, yeah, that's not coming over here. They
Yeah.
have to redo the whole thing. But yeah, that what 96 was in Tales of Fantasia came out, I think 96 or
Yeah, it looks
97.
like it. Yeah, because Tales of Destiny came out in 97. It looked like.
Yeah, so it's 96 was yeah, because Fantasia
That's
was on Super NES.
that's crazy.
Yeah, so they've been going for a while. Um,
Jeez. Well, somebody buying it for,
yeah,
for
yeah,
that
oh
whole
yeah,
series to stay up.
yeah. It's a popular series, so
That's
because
what's
they
up.
did more of like the anime stylings instead of
Hmm.
like the instead of being like Final Fantasy was trying to be like pseudo realistic at that time. They went full
Right.
on. No, we anime.
Gotcha.
We
Okay.
straight up anime, and that's how they hit in.
Okay.
So how that Pokemon boycott going?
Look, I didn't know it sold that much. Like, there's no way you could really stop and say, you know what? Even with one, the boycott stuff, to the legitimate, complaints about how
Mhm.
this last game ran, but then for some people that were like, okay, we didn't like the fact that they started off with the Let's Go series that blew up. Then we got the Legend series and everything else that's there. So I mean, but for the type of money that Pokemon make, I agree with most people online. Don't expect nothing great coming like that. I'm releasing the same type of game the following year. I'm just changing the title on it, and I make sure it runs the same way in the same engine. I'm not changing nothing.
They banked $11.6 billion last year.
That's nuts. And this is across everything, right?
Yeah, it's across everything.
Okay.
That's
But
wild.
but it's still, that's what I'm saying. Like that's yeah, like it's still an accomplishment. Like
So that's
that's
bigger than
still an
an
accomplishment. Like, bro, you the list has Disney, Authentic Brands, Warner Brothers, Hasbro, and NBC. Matter of fact, they're right up under NBC Universal.
That is crazy.
So yeah, it may have, most of it may have like not that much to do with the games, but the fact that the Pokemon company itself banked 10 billion when you got all these people talking about they need to boycott it every other year.
Boy, that's what you call like truly finding the formula.
Yeah.
Andre, you on mute.
So yeah, I just realized it. That's also just the games that they try to boycott, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's still funny that they still don't work.
Oh yeah, it ain't.
No.
It's never
Still
gonna
don't work.
It's never gonna work.
It's never gonna
Because
work.
even when people do talk about boycotting, that game usually becomes the fastest selling one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many times we hear Pokemon Legends needs to be boycotted, and what happened?
Which that one I don't understand because
I
Legends was
didn't
a
even
good game.
understand why that one
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
was on anybody's radar for that.
that one had to be boycotted. What was it when they did the remake of Sapphire and Ruby? Needed to be boycotted, and then people went. Not only did they buy both of them, they bought the Switch Lite that went with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like Pokemon just that's finding a formula like that's going to last forever. Like they really, I feel like they do too much from a anime series. Like, were us to be going on what the 10th gen at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you're recreating like 150 plus, and from what they've shown in the like interviews or any articles they do, it's not them just saying, okay, bring me 150 drawings and we're good. Like you have to have a legitimate backstory for your Pokemon before we even put it in there. So they put thought into it.
Yeah.
And so for you to come up with these monsters every generation and then do an anime to it and then do merch to it, like that's
and you gotta come up with their like fighting style.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Their motion animations and all of that. It's a lot.
And you got to come up with a way to make Peter mad. You got to make Peter mad too. Peter has to be pissed off. If Peter has to be so pissed off, they got to make their own web game.
Wow.
Y'all remember that?
You know what's so weird? Can I throw this in on the side? You know what's so weird? I heard Peter speak once about Power World.
Not once.
Not at all.
And they stupid. They got guns.
Power World has to get bigger before I guess Peter start complaining about them.
Yeah, or they didn't want to have the effect of making it bigger.
Yeah, that too. Because you drawing attention to it would definitely do that.
That is. But
like, all you gotta do to make them agitated is just ignore them.
That too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I've always, Pokemon has always been fascinating to me just because of like so many people that are really like passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, a lot of people, they like, the only way you get companies to listen to you is speak with your wallet. I think we all know that. But like I said, I've never understood boycotting something and then the boycott actually turns into the sales numbers going through the roof. I ain't never heard of that before.
Like, I think if you have like a legitimate reason to boycott a business or a game or whatever, then maybe people can rally behind it. But your boycott reason is I can't catch all 1,000 plus freaking Pokemon.
Yeah.
That I'm probably not going to use because I can only use 6 in my party anyway. So it's like, what is the point? Like, I just don't get it. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know of any other franchise that garners this type of attention and stays consistent. Like Pokemon hasn't taken a dip.
And they keep coming out with merch and new stuff. And I don't know how many times I've been on Twitch and see a big Snorlax pillow in the background.
Yeah, like people love, and then the crazy thing is, like, they can still make money off the first gen that got all
Yeah.
of us. So
Yeah.
it's like, so it's sometimes it's not even the newer stuff; it's the first gen that still got people on lock. Like I got a little girl coming in, like she's gonna be in a Pokemon. I'm going to introduce her in the Pokemon to see if she likes it. So that's gonna be another piece into it. But I mean, it's just my kids love Pokemon.
Yeah. Even though, if we being honest, Pokemon has the worst parents in all of anime.
Oh yeah, definitely.
100%. I was trying to set the table like, hey, you see, they're out at 10, right? Like,
Hurry up.
you overdue.
He go to his bicycle, get the hell on.
Matter of fact, I need you to make it somewhere else before I give you the bicycle.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you don't even get the bicycle immediately. You gotta go like 4 towns over to come back.
Use
to
your
get the
feet
bike.
first, and then
Right.
I'll bless you with a bike.
Like,
Man,
I gotta make sure that you can make it down the road.
Tell me about how you made it with that you came back with a bike. I appreciate you. That's what's up. Get gone. Now show me how you fly. Give me the fly.
Right.
Look, I need to see you fly. I need to see you surf. You need to be able to chop down a tree.
You need to beat at least 2 mafia bosses.
Right.
As a 10-year-old.
Look, three if you really being extracurricular.
And if you come back with anywhere less than 8 batches, I'm disown you for life.
Oh,
Exactly.
and yeah, there's this world-ending threat. You gotta make sure you take care of that too.
Yeah. Also, you need to be out here before Professor Oak come over.
But
on
reason.
missions,
Yeah.
fill the Pokédex.
Yeah.
Oh, something getting poked.
All right.
He's like, I'm feeling Pokédex.
But yeah, I look. Hats off to the Pokemon Company. I'm like, look, I can't hate. I just think it's funny. I just thought it was funny, that all of this, as to hear, like, if you just would go on like Facebook or Twitter or whatever, or social media in general, and as soon as they release a game or release a trailer for a game, all the hate it gets, but then turn right back around and look when that game releases. Because Pokemon, the only people I know would go at Call of Duty during Call of Duty's like prime. We selling got all these celebrities playing, and Pokemon would be like, so and go and open and drop 2 weeks before or a week before or a week after and be fine and not care.
They stayed consistent too because now they doing better than Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Right.
basically. But if you listen to everybody else, they like, nobody should ever play this ever again. I'm like, bro,
That's
they
that
buy
minority.
it.
That's the minority too, because the main crowd to be about our age. Like, dude, this ain't for you. Like, if you don't like it, oh well. I got a million other children that rock with us.
Right.
Sorry, we lost you.
Dang, my bad.
We lost you, but your kids, you finna go buy all 3.
Look, we lost you as a customer, but we gained 3 more in your house.
Right. Which that's the most gangster thing you can do. Like, you mad at me, but I got your kids. Like, that's,
Right.
and you go buy the game. You gonna buy the game. Now you may not buy it for you, but you gonna buy the game.
See, you gonna buy it for them and then secretly play it anyway.
Right. I guess it's all right. No, that ain't what you were saying.
That's not what you were saying before. and some parents, they'll make up something to get their kid in trouble just so they can take it. Because during the whole Pokemon Go situation, you don't know how many times I saw parents in stores, you shouldn't have acted up in school. Give me a phone. And they sitting there playing Pokemon Go. I'm like, what? Come on.
Guess you ain't catching that legendary.
Nah, sign out your account, put mine on.
Yeah, basically. I'm like, y'all ain't right. Y'all ain't right.
Pokemon is something different, man. I don't know if we're gonna ever see anything else like this, but I mean, they're very creative. I mean, they done figured it out. They got the blueprint. And I mean, we've seen people try to copy, but it just don't work like that. It's dedication.
And I'm like, you got to be, to do Ash like they did Ash in that anime, like this dude ain't never won nothing.
Right.
Until the end.
I was saying, he won the last one. He'd have done all this other great amazing stuff.
Yeah,
but couldn't win a tournament. I'm
to
like,
save his life.
I was like, y'all realize how backwards that is?
backwards.
Like, because if you play the games, your trainer always wins the tournament and
Always.
then
Yeah.
does the other stuff.
Yeah.
It's like Ash does the other stuff, but can't get past semifinals.
I'm
Nothing.
talking about Mewtwo murdered him twice in the movie.
Hey,
He got murdered
man,
twice.
He'd have been through so much stuff.
yeah. I mean, and then you think about it, right? The power of Pokemon. When people heard that Ash was finally going away or finally won, people tuned in. Like that blew up.
Yeah.
Like even for people that don't even watch Pokemon anymore, they was like, "Oh, Ash finally finna win something."
Yeah.
Like,
How many
Watching this
years has it
episode,
been?
I just stopped watching 10 years ago, but my boy finally getting his win.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
I'm gonna watch.
Yeah, y'all right, like that, because that, as a matter of fact, because on the Pokemon YouTube channel, they actually uploaded the episode so
Mhm.
everybody can see it.
Listen, as great as it was, I still feel disrespected that this man did not have Charizard in his last.
Yeah, that is true.
That's super disrespectful. You already know Charizard. His Charizard is the best in all of anime. Period. And this man did not bring him along. If I was Charizard, I feel really like, bro, we not cool no more. I'm just letting you know, we not cool. Don't ask for my help. Don't expect to fall and about to die like you did with Mewtwo, like you did with Lugia. Don't ask me because I ain't coming around. Don't try it. All them champions. I'm not a champion. All right, I see you. All right.
Right.
I bet.
Right.
He tried to open up the ball, and the ball won't open.
Right.
Charizard just tossed it back.
Disrespectful.
Oh man, yeah, that's too funny. But yeah, that's the only reason I wanted to bring it up because when I saw that and then I saw the list and I'm like, wait a minute, they're right up under NBC, like NBC, yeah, like damn,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, geez, not bad. What is it, Game Freak and Pokemon Company?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
All the
that's
other stuff is like non-gaming related too. That's what's
right.
even crazier.
Yeah,
that's
It's
I
not
mean, but
Grand
that
Theft
takes
Auto, no Call of Duty.
no. Because I mean, you have to be everywhere to be on that list. Like you can't just have like one
thing,
one rock in this bucket and think you're gonna win all that. Because I mean, like we said, the merch, which covers a lot.
Yeah.
You know, you got the
trading
trading
card
cards,
games,
the video games, the
tournaments for
movies.
that.
Yeah. So I mean, they covered everything, and it's kind of sad in a way because while they were doing this, Nintendo's just now jumping onto it. To where if they would have started this back when Pokemon was doing it, Nintendo might be on that list.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just
I think Nintendo kind of paused because they had that same kind of steamroll going on in the mid 80s, early 90s. Like right around the time, I want to say this stopped probably right after Super Mario Bros. 3 peaked.
Mm-hmm.
Then at that point in time, they kind of killed all the merch kind of stuff. They would do it here and there, but nowhere near as much as they did during the NES days. It was crazy. Right. Like it was Nintendo cereal. It was everything. Like if you wanted bed sheets, they're there. Like
they had Super Mario Brothers show. They did a Super Mario Bros. Show for 1, 2, and 3.
Yep. They did Super Mario World, but I think it was like half a season. I think it was like 6 episodes.
Because that's when, because it was through NBC, and that's when NBC got rid of their cartoon block. They Saturday morning block. So when they got rid of that, that's when I think they started moving out of that. That would have been right after the Super Mario Brothers movie, the first one, the bad one. But like I said, I never understood why they didn't jump back on it either. Because I'm like, and especially now that anime is as big as it is, I'm like, bruh. I still want my season of Star Fox. I only gave me 1 episode.
So I think it was a little bit of a combination of things. It was obviously at some point they probably met some roadblocks, or there was a lack of success on certain things, like them handing their trademarks over to stuff like the Captain N stuff.
And that probably put a bad taste in their mouth. Yeah,
and then the Super Mario World show getting canceled. I'm pretty sure that kind of stuff, they were like, well, let's go back to the drawing board. And then I want to say about 10 plus years ago, it was all about how was Nintendo going to own it internally.
because they were still trying to do the whole on Wii channel we'll have this kind of stuff, and then on Wii U they're like, hey, we got these Wii U movies and stuff that you can download, and it never panned out. So they were kind of looking for a way to be their own media company for their own devices, and it kind of didn't work because they had the movies on 3DS too. They were doing the same thing.
Because the Kid Icarus anime stuff was actually pretty good on 3DS.
Yeah, they were really trying to sell you their own content on their own devices. Just they're not everywhere like the other, like the apps are and iPhones and all that other kind of stuff. So I think they kind of yielded and just said, "Hey, we'll partner with DNA and the rest we'll keep moving."
Yeah. I still want my full season of Star Fox.
I mean, that would work. I mean, that as an anime or cartoon, however you want to phrase it, that would have worked.
I think it'll work with any medium. Star Fox would. You could probably do just about everything but live action. I mean, live action would be like a mix between CG, I guess.
No, it needs to be live action. We need to find a live fox, a live falcon,
a live frog.
No,
a live rabbit.
That would be Disney doing that one.
No, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that.
No.
Don Favreau directed.
Yeah, I mean, I think, but I mean, shouts out to Pokemon though, for sure.
Yeah, shouts out to them. Okay, so let me bring this up because I know there's a lot of people who feel a certain kind of way about this topic, but I thought it was kind of interesting that old boy from Dragon Quest was the one that brought this to everybody's attention, and he basically, just like the title says, it basically says silent protagonists look like idiots, and I agree with him to a point, to a certain point. And I think the point that he was making was basically like the more realistic you go, if you have a silent protagonist, it does look stupid.
It's jarring.
Yeah. And I agree with him because one of my favorite games is Astral Chain. Astral Chain, whoever you pick between the two main characters, one of them is silent, the other one is speaking. The problem is both of them have fully voice acted people. So I'm like, why did you do that?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me because I thought like, okay, you have to pick the boy or you have to pick the girl. But then when I got the game, I'm like, hold on. So they both have voice actors. It's just the person that you pick is silent. That makes absolutely no sense.
No sense. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay. And then you have stuff like Legend of Zelda, my favorite game. People really think Link is mute. He's not a mute. He's not mute. But people believe that because he doesn't talk. Now, Legend of Zelda is the farthest thing from realistic, trying to be the realistic. They set up their own world and they work in that world. But I do understand what he was saying because the more you go into realism, you're gonna have that.
Yeah.
Because at that point you're gonna be like, okay, well, why isn't he talking? Another one of my I'm playing through Trails of Cold Steel, right? Trails Through Daybreak right now. There are parts where it's fully voice acted, and then they'll stop talking, and you have to read. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I don't get those either.
It was just like, what? Like, why did y'all stop talking?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it depends on the game design too, though, because a lot of that becomes like you're kind of like jumping. You're killing the first person perspective. The first person narrative only comes through gameplay. Anytime that you interact with somebody is second person. It's whatever the NPC thinks you are saying and them reacting to you, which I can appreciate that to a certain literary extent, but I don't see how every game pulls that off without a really good writing team.
Right.
Even with the weird, quirky Japaneseness of the Legend of Zelda, I think they understood what they were making, and them having everybody, even when it's just speech bubbles, everybody gets a speech bubble but Link, and it's not a point where they're talking to him and they're like, well, you're not talking back. They know what the response is. Sometimes Link is expressive and they understand what he's saying, or he's actually saying stuff like they're either nodding and then the camera fades or whatever, and they're like, hey, well, you told me everything that happened. They know what to do, and it's like Jack was saying, it is kind of jarring for like Astral Chain and some other games too. And when it really hurts when they attempt to do it, and they only do it because this is one of those things where they were short on development time and they're trying to finish the game out.
Right, bless you.
you'll have a fully voice acted character. Bless you. You have a fully voice acted character. You got Jennifer Hale doing the voice for this character, but for whatever reason, this one cutscene for this DLC or this subquest over here,
Mm-hmm.
you pull up, everybody starts talking, and then they ask you a question, and then it just cuts fades out and says, "Oh yeah, that's what happened." And I'm like, "Whoa, you just turned them into a silent protagonist for like 45 seconds. Why did you do that?" It's and it happens in every game, really. Like it'll at some point it becomes hey, we got to push this game out. So
Mhm.
at some point it's like, hey, we had a line in here where somebody was going to say something back, and either we couldn't get it localized in time if it's text, or we couldn't get the voice actor to do that line in time, or whatever contractual agreements, and it becomes a thing. Like games are weird like that, and I don't understand why, because if they're jumping to be like film, this isn't something that would happen in a film.
Exactly.
And
So-
I think that's the other thing too, because like, especially nowadays, since we have some developers and creators, Neil Druckmann, who wants their stuff to be, they want to be in Hollywood. I'm like, brother, take your ass to Hollywood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Cage,
they
all
probably
them.
tried and couldn't make
You
it.
couldn't make it, yeah.
And
So
they hadn't reached that limit yet. So
yeah, so they tried. So their video games are now basically what got rejected by Hollywood. So now we
That was
stuck with it.
Kojima. Are you saying these premier game developers are just like are just like politicians? They're all failed actors. They just kind of
yeah,
Kind of.
yeah.
I would agree. Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, 'cause
Some, yeah.
that's what they're trying to do. I'm like, look, I don't mind it every now and then, but when you're trying to say when these games are costing 200 million, 100 million plus to make, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
That's way
Yeah.
too much money.
that's way
Also-
too much money.
Also, even if that's the cost of the games, right? I'm going to ask that the CEO of a company to have a soul.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't go and say, "Hey, look, I want everybody at the board to be somebody that's never touched a video game before." No, don't. They should not be part of your board. I don't care how much money they got, right?
Yeah.
Because the whole point is you want to continue doing business the way that you do business. You're not just looking for the next. You know how that goes. Capitalism will eat itself. So if you just chase the money, you'll lose the entire point of you being in business. So it's just one of those things where you don't want to end up being, hey, we're a video game company, and then tomorrow, oh, well, we're a Netflix store now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Shadow, I have a yacht I have to get, so you're gonna have to table that.
Right. So now I know we're talking about the voice acting, but how do we feel about, I guess, the image of the character and like cutscenes? So like we have these games that go heavy on like accessories or how you can change how your character looks, but then it looks like the main character as it was in the cutscene, and then you convert back to the way you dress your character up. Yeah. Like I remember the first time seeing it happen in cutscenes was playing No Mercy, to where no matter how you change the characters within the game, when they're in that cutscene when you start the game, that's how they look. To where
most
games
of those are
now,
pre-rendered though, like
right?
they're
And
not
I
in
think that's where
game.
the problem
Like,
comes in too.
because like I go back to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, like
Mm-hmm.
the memory movies, yeah, those are pre-rendered. But when you do a cutscene in game, it's whatever you got on. Like when I pulled the sword out of spoiler alert, when I pulled the sword out of Zelda's forehead in Tears of the Kingdom, it's what I got on.
Yeah.
But when you go to one of those memories, it's already a pre-rendered.
Which that
scene.
part I get, because I mean we're talking about a memory. I'm
Yeah.
like, if I'm in the game and I'm talking to the person I just met up with and my clothes change,
Yeah.
that's a problem. Like
That's
that's-
the
I
game
think-
design.
Yeah, and also that goes back to that in game, because those in game cutscenes are always different from what the pre-rendered cutscenes are. So if your in game cutscene, yeah, you're gonna look like you look and everything, but once it hits that pre-render, it's gonna flip right back. Perfect point. Near Automata. I usually wear the white suit. When it goes to the cutscenes, though, that's the pre-rendered one. She goes back to the black gothic Lolita suit or whatever.
Yeah.
But in game, I'm wearing the white with the man, or either I'm wearing the white version, or I'm wearing the little short dress with the cat mask. But as soon as I go to a cutscene, it goes back to what she was wearing at the beginning of the game. So
That's key difference between the Resident Evil 4 versions. Also, PS2 version, everything was pre-rendered. So when you go to those cutscenes, those changes aren't there. But since everything's in engine on the GameCube, like whatever changes you had to costumes or whatever, they show up in the cutscenes. So it just depends on what they do now. And I know what Jack is saying now too. I have seen some broken games where you get material and stuff that goes like, or you get an upgrade or something and it changes your appearance, and then you go into a cutscene. That cutscene was not prepared for you to have those changes. So
right.
you have the regular skeleton of the model there, just talking to Joe NPC like nothing ever happened to you. You never leveled up, you never got whatever, and that's gross, and that's just bad design all the way around.
Yeah,
so
I believe what Starlink kind of ran into an even worse issue because now everything has Star Fox. Like every version has Star Fox, so that in itself was kind of janky a little bit, but. Yeah.
Should have had a superior version, the version that had Star Fox in it.
Oddly enough, though, I think if Starlink would have only been on the Switch, it would have done better.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I would have, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And they just need my only problem with Starlink was it just got hella repetitive. Like every world you did the same exact thing, and I'm like, bro, y'all gotta switch this up a little bit.
Yeah,
the exact same missions too, like in the exact same. It's just different environment.
That's it. Like, now, don't get me wrong. I love playing as Fox's team McLeod, but
the missions to get them to that was different. That was interesting, but other than that,
that's why I wouldn't mind Ubisoft getting another crack. I wouldn't mind Platinum getting another crack at Star Fox, honestly. But being honest, but if I wouldn't mind Ubisoft getting it if they're gonna do something different. Like what they do with Mario Rabbids and stuff like that. So,
do you think they would take it on now that they're doing this Star Wars Outlaw?
From what I heard about Star Wars Outlaw, I don't think Nintendo want them touching it.
Which is crazy though, because Mario Rabbids is good. I think just have Nintendo involved the whole way through.
Yeah, you have to have them involved the whole way through. You can't just leave them to their own devices because because I've heard some horror stories. I've read some horror stories about Outlaws. I'm like, this can blow up real bad if they don't travel. If they don't do this right. This can blow up real bad. But what else? All right, so we got one. Sandstorm, I'm gonna let you handle this one. The Humble Games thing. Take it away.
Yeah, man. So Humble Games. I don't know if y'all remember them, but they did Slayer to the Spire. They are pretty much laying off everybody. But I haven't seen anything official as far as them like actually like closing the studio. So
that's the thing.
That's different.
Yeah, the what I read was they're laying off everybody, but they're restructuring because they're not closing their doors. They're restructuring. If you're restructuring, you don't lay everybody off. No.
Right.
That sounds like a reorganization to me.
Yeah. It's just a public statement, so it doesn't sound bad. They're going to eventually close it. That's just unfortunately that's just the way. That's the rub there.
Yeah. That's wild, man. And that's unfortunate too. But like the Spire game is pretty much the only one that I've really heard of them like really doing. The other ones that they got the label.
I was gonna say Humble generally does like publishing for indies. So they're chances are they're getting rid of the people that work for them developing, and they're just going to do publishing for indies. So you'll probably still hear of Humble Games, that it's just going to be as a publisher.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because their staff is only 36 people.
Oh, okay. That's crazy.
So it's not a huge layoff, but it's still a layoff.
Yeah, it's still a layoff. Yeah.
So I'll converse to that. I'll go ahead and give the good news to that. And I had tweeted about this the other day, but Bethesda just got their first union contract with Microsoft. So that's good. It is right, yeah. Wow. And that's one of the few in the industry at large. So ESA and there was another company.
there's ESA, the ESRB, which is the ratings board or what have you, and there's another company for talent contracts beside the video game industry. Those are the only 3 industry standards started for and developed for specifically video games, and it's really got to become a thing because as we just talked about, people are being treated like literal garbage. So if you're like, it's getting to the point now where people already know, hey, it's crunch time. We're about to finish this game. They already start polishing up their resumes.
All right.
And it shouldn't be like that, because if you made a good product, or you at least you're confident in having a good product, and you had good working rapport with the entire team and all the other kind of stuff and whatnot, first of all, how do you not already have other projects greenlit and stacked already by various publishers going forward? There should never be a sense of unease like in the project that you're on, because you should know that you got 2 or 3 more after this one. Right. And for whatever reason, the majority of studios are not like that. And right. Honestly, I think that's because of the depth of the AA and the B tier teams. So since you don't have that medium to large size business anymore that's constant, you have a bunch of shell companies spun up by, hey, I used to work at IGN, or I was a really bad employee at this studio, and I'm working with my marketing firm buddy over here, and we want to start a new business as a venture capital kind of little joint venture here. And we don't care how this goes. We just want to spin up some capital real quick so we can IPO, and then as soon as we IPO, we're gonna get out of there. And that's it. But people temporarily made something to create revenue, and they were hoping it was going to be a job. Mm-hmm. So it becomes a thing where now you got all these weird things that are not video gamey affecting people that make video games to, effectively for other people to have fun, and they have to do the adult and life things because other people want to play around with other people's lives, and that's just not. It's just not a thing, man. Because I'll say this: programming is not easy. The average person cannot do it, even if you walk them through it and you give them a tutorial. Artwork is not easy, especially if you're talking about applying it to a live mesh that's going into a video game with code. None of this together, like building a team and getting something together like that to get a project to push out the door, is already something the average billionaire could not do. They could throw money at it, but if they don't have the talent, it's not going to happen. So when you do have that happen, regardless of how much money that you spent or whatever, man, it's got to be rewarded. It doesn't make any sense that this keeps happening, and all it's going to do is make games worse. Yeah. So you're going to get more quick turnaround projects because people are like, it's got to make profit, it's got to make profit, it's got to make profit kind of situation, and like
not understanding that most video games used to have like they made money over time, not within the first month.
Yeah. I mean, and even too, when you look at teams, and it seems like they're always swapping bodies out.
Yep.
So my thing is like, how do you build on a franchise or IP, or how do you build on anything when you have a new face in there? What seems like after every release, like you got to build some type of camaraderie, you got to build some type of rapport with your team for you to be able to say, okay, cool, I know I can go to this dude to handle this, and we already know who we got to make this type of project. But like you said, it seems like everybody's just looking for that big cash grab or trying to get that revenue. And they just grab, I guess, who seems to be the most talented and bring them in on that project. And that person, you'll see later on, oh, they left. Like, so now they don't have their lead producer anymore.
Perfect Dark. And basically every Halo since 343 left. Since Bungie left.
Yep. Yeah. It's tough, man, because, and the sad part is there are answers, right? There are small teams in like Germany and elsewhere in the world. I mean, pretty much the entirety of Japan that have a culture together where like, not saying it's next man up, but everybody actually wants to do this thing. So they work on it until it's done. And the things that they didn't get to do while they were doing that project, they already have that stack forward to work on the next project. They don't even know what franchise is going to be. They're just making games over here, and they're like, hey, that was a real nice little thing we came up with. Let's put it in this thing that we're working on going forward. And they continue to do that, like to the point these people don't go home. They don't want to go home. They sleeping at their desks. They like being there. Versus, you know, you got people here now like they do 8 hours here, and they're like they don't ever want to come back again because you know it's not a good environment. It's nothing but crunch. They, you know. Yeah. People looking at you with the stink face, and it's just bad. It's just bad. Like you're building a product to make people smile. I don't understand why it should not be an environment where you don't feel comfortable. So, but that's, you know, it is what it is, man. You can't, unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond the control of the video game industry, you're kind of stuck to deal with it. And as middling adults that we see this, because kids don't see this, they just know, hey, I'm buying the game, whatever. This part of it sucks, and I feel like it needs to be vocalized. And I don't think too many people talk about it too much because they don't get stories anymore from their news outlet if they talk about it. So there's that, because as the publisher, they feed the news, which is also gross, but that's a whole nother story.
I mean, I remember being on that side of the fence as a kid. Like, whenever I got like all my birthday money and I went and bought me a Dreamcast, not even realizing that they were about to just get rid of the console. Like, I was able to go into a pawn shop, get a Dreamcast, get Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and then also get NBA 2K2 for like $100. And I'm like, okay, that's not bad. And then when I finally got it, one of my friends told me like, hey, they're getting rid of the Dreamcast. I'm like, shut up, I just bought one. Like, no, it's out of here. Like,
that's how it happened to me, because I got one in when did I get mine? 2001. And that's when I found it, right when I bought it, because it was a sports edition. It was a black one. The black one. When I bought it, I read on IGN that due to declining numbers, they are discontinuing effective, like I think it was like the next year or something like I just got this thing.
Yeah, they got it. Yeah. And like I said, you got from IGN, I got it from a dude selling burnt copies of games. Like, he's like, oh, I was like, this is why. I'm like, well, so you're contributing to the problem. Gotcha. All right, gotcha.
Well, yeah, like you're making the issue, buddy.
Right.
Yeah, which is crazy because and to be fair, everybody was bootlegging back then too. Yeah. But if you can catch a good deal on a game, people would still buy it. Like, I was in a scenario where people like, hey man, I got this. Well, at the time too, also, if you had the bootleg version of the game, like, it would be this weird preloading thing that would happen sometimes. There'd be weird model issues and stuff like that. So you wanted the GD-ROM. It wasn't like you were in a situation where I'm just never gonna buy a game. Like, no, you wanted to get the game and you wanted to play it and stuff like that. So it wasn't never really a thing. It just, what hurt me the most was I had to go ahead and eat that $199, and then like 4 months later, everybody else $75. They walking out with 2-3 of them. I'm like, man, must be nice. Then the black one came out, and I was like, man, I want that one. I think that was the one that was still. I think it was still $150 when it came out, because it was $150. One. Yeah, that's what I had. They were still trying to sell NBA 2K bundle with that one, and I was like, man, I want. I got the one that had the NFL
and NBA.
One was it? They had like
because it had the big Sega Sports logo on it.
Yeah, because mine was black, had the Sega Sports logo on it, but mine didn't have NBA. It had NFL 2K, because I got the NFL one.
Yeah,
one of them had NFL, one of them had NBA, and I think one of them had that tennis.
NHL. Yeah, NHL.
Yeah. So they had one for whatever sport you wanted to get.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but right after that, $75. I'm like, y'all are wrong for this.
I had the bootleg IGN bundle. I'm not IGN, but I had the bootleg GameStop bundle. So I got a Dreamcast with the second controller, with the bootleg Mad Catz memory card, and one of the VMUs.
The only thing that Mad Catz made that actually didn't tell was the daggone memory
Dreamcast
card.
controller.
Yep. And the memory card was great because it had multiple page flips on it, so you can expand the memory out. Each one of them was 64 megs, so you could just switch out and put whatever you want on it. So it was pretty big.
Talking about the Sega Sports one, like really stopping to look in hindsight, of course, 2K, one of the biggest NBA games right now, and that was in Sega's hands.
Yes.
Like,
Visual concepts.
That and they had the full sports suite.
Yeah,
Yep.
they had it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
NFL 2K
boy.
had EA sweating bullets.
I
Yeah,
need
so
Sega to do a Kickstarter.
It came out being just as good as Madden.
Yeah,
Out the
Yeah.
gate.
I need
And
Sega to do a Kickstarter for a system, man.
I
I want to give
still-
Sega one more shot.
I still think it's
Come back,
the
brother, come
funniest
back.
thing in the world what they did with NFL 2K5 when EA
Yes.
when they got the NFL contract. So they was just like, okay, not only are we gonna make a better game than you, we're gonna sell it for $20.
Mm-hmm.
For all the sports games too. That was
Yeah.
what made it even worse.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, y'all really gave them the middle finger. Like
That was one of the most petty moves.
yeah.
What killed me too, though, because the presentation, everything was top notch on it. Like, and
Everything.
keep in mind, the launch game was already setting the standard for you. Virtual tennis,
Yeah.
and that was like watching TV. It was great.
Yeah,
I'll
it was
you
great,
know,
yeah.
if at that time, September 1999, that was a great time to see that type of detail. In the video game, and it felt good to play. It wasn't like robotic. Like usually when you get a game like that with quote unquote realistic graphics or whatever, you get all the jank that goes along with it. No, that game
It
felt
was
great.
smooth.
Yeah.
It felt great.
And the commercials were on point. That's why, like I said, as a kid, I did not understand. I was like, the console looks great. It runs great. It has great games. The commercials, I'm loving them. Every time they zoomed into the Dreamcast itself, you see everybody in there talking. You know, Tails in there talking to Iverson, and like it's just everything.
That
just
was
seemed like
wild
it was perfect.
too.
And then the memory cards, like I was that kid that couldn't really get memory cards. So I had to leave my console on, but the Dreamcast was where I actually got an opportunity to get a memory card, and then to have that VMU to where with Sonic you did the chows, and you had different things that happened with the VMU, but I didn't understand it until somebody told me. But yeah, they had it right. It's just they did things the wrong way leading up to it.
I don't want to create a rabbit hole, but this is gonna lead into Shadowcast realm topics. But it's pretty much an extension of the Wii U situation because the PS2 was launching and they were collecting all their deals behind the scenes, which meant somebody got screwed. EA was not coming to the table for Sega, and neither was DMA Design at the time. So Rockstar in any way, shape, or form was not coming. So imagine launching a system and that's never going to happen for you. So you have to make your own sports game. And then literally a year later, the PS2 comes out with everything. So it was just,
but it kind of worked in their favor from that standpoint of like the game. But yeah, I get what you're saying though. Like you were shot in the foot from the beginning.
And they were never going to do a deal after that. No. They were just going to let the system die.
Yeah, because plus with Sega Saturn, was 2 years before that anyway? Like, bro, you can't do that back to back like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
like,
you can't drop the console like cell phones. Like
Sega Saturn was like 95.
Well, Dreamcast was 99. I thought Saturn was like 96.
99.
It was it was 95 in Japan and then 96 over here.
Saturn was 95 too because it undercut the PlayStation. The PlayStation was supposed to come out the same year.
And Sega went ahead and launched it early and threw everything off.
Yeah.
Retailers were pissed off. So
Sega didn't even know the Saturn was coming out. They were still making
crazy
32X games. They're like, we're dropping this now? Yeah, we're dropping it now.
But that was basically because Sega of America and Sega of Japan couldn't get on board together. And the Saturn and the 32X used the same parts.
Yep.
So it was like y'all undercut each other for no reason. Like
how does
they would have just done
split in half like that?
Because Sega of Japan allowed too much control on the side of America because Sega of America was doing pretty well for a while.
Yeah.
But if they hadn't made the 32X and just focused on the Saturn, all those 32X games would have been on the Saturn and probably would have been better off because they would have been easier to obtain at the time. And if Sega didn't front load themselves I think it was E395.
Yeah,
that's when they announced that they were launching it I was
That's
like,
nuts.
why would y'all do that?
As a
Yeah,
Sega fan, you were
surprise.
all confused. There were games that were supposed to be Saturn games that came out for the Genesis, for the 32X, for the Sega CD, and the Saturn the same year.
Shit.
Like, make it make sense.
And
You got
then
a
you
D-pad
had
version of Virtua Fighter on the Genesis. Where they do that at? Like,
you
it
had
just make sense.
you had the Sega Saturn and the 32X CD, which were technically essentially the same thing.
Yep.
So so when do you think the Dreamcast would have come out had they done it that way?
If they had, if they
It
hadn't
came out
rushed
in
it,
2001
it would have probably come in 2001.
when everybody else had theirs, because GameCube was 2001, Xbox was 2000. Yeah, it would have been 2001.
Okay.
Now keep in mind, because of the deal, it still would have been the same.
Still would have been the same thing.
The same technology.
But Sega would have had a better chance to come out with a lot more stuff.
And they wouldn't have lost as much money per unit either. It would have
even
been
when Dreamcast launched, I think they only launched with like maybe 12 games.
Yep.
Yeah, because it wasn't
they were good games. Oh my god,
they were all good, but they only launched with 12. Yeah, because I remember, I know for a fact because my brother got the launch day Dreamcast, and we got that Sonic Adventure at the same time. Because I was on that day one.
They had the demo disc. The demo disc with like 6 games on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, it was
that. I think House of the Dead 2.
House of the Dead. What, Dead or Alive 2 on there?
Dead or Alive 2 came a little bit later.
Okay.
And that's still better than the PS2 version.
Yeah, it was
actually
Virtua
on the
Fighter.
demo disc. Yeah,
it was Virtua Fighter 3 TB also. So yeah, they had a lot.
Sega, I know you pay attention to Andre's channel, but if you watching this Kickstarter for it, it ain't gotta be called a
Dreamcast 2.
Whatever you do, Dreamcast 2, you can call it whatever you want to call it. Just man, run it back one more time.
If Sega had a time machine right now, it might be 4 players on the market,
which is what we really need, because I feel like Sega would match Nintendo on that creativity front.
Yeah, they would.
That makes everybody better.
Yeah. Oh well. Oh well. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Look at us simping for Sega over here.
I know, right?
Oh, this is a horrible. This is a Sega podcast. What we doing out here?
I mean,
the Dreamcast going.
When you think about it, I'm like, bro, they had like the Dreamcast was an excellent console, dude. Shenmue.
Yeah.
Shenmue was awesome, dude. Resident Evil Code Veronica.
Then you had the bootleg Resident Evil, which was Carrier. That was a good game, even if the voice acting was horrible. The game itself was good.
Atrocious. But that's true. That is true. All right, peeps, we're gonna call it a night. Sandstorm, anything you want to pimp out?
We did not have a Stormcast yesterday. Just a recovery week. So I know YouTube is going to kill all sorts of algorithm that was applied to that channel. So many days down the drain, but it's okay though. So tomorrow, I don't know if we have a Joe podcast, but we will be back on Friday for Vitoverse and Saturday for another Stormcast. So make sure you guys follow that as well, and make sure you follow everybody here in the circle. Y'all already know the dilly, really. So yeah, that's all I got.
All right, Andre.
I mean, obviously, my petty pitch for Switch video for Resident Evil 2 for NSO, because I somehow drew out another person that was petty, and I was very petty with them in my comments. So if you can listen to the video, then follow the pettiness in the comment train down there.
Oh, yeah, it would be kind of bad in there.
It's undefeated, man. I swear.
And then I did the discussion of death having no meaning in fighting games. And that was it for this week, because I did not create a whole bunch of stuff. So kept it simple.
Gotcha. All right, Jack.
I recorded part of the flop video that I wanted to do to kind of give an idea of how I wanted to approach it. Was kind of looking at it from a standpoint of like actually something that has some type of base to it, right? Because I mean, we always look at flopping, people say that it's subjective depending on who you're talking to. But I kind of wanted to approach the video from like using the comparison. So like the way I used the comparison was like with the NBA, to where how you can define like the shooting champion in the NBA, like the scoring champion. He had the most points. So looking at this video, it was like, okay, for a flop, I'm looking at it from the developer standpoint. You know what I mean? Like we can say it was a flop because we had expectations for it, but in reality, let's say, the example I used was Stellar Blade, and I'm looking at games like a Bayo or a Devil May Cry and looking at what they've sold and what we've deemed as a success, and just trying to use it in that comparison to give something for it, opposed to just kind of having this blind, it's not a flop without any type of basis. So, I can have actual, conversation about it for the people that do go down there and not throw a fit in the comment section. But but outside of that, finished up the album, submitted it. What was it, last week? I will say this will be my last album with TuneCore. I'm just ready to get done with TuneCore. They are a pain in my behind at this point. Solely because I don't know, Sandstorm, if you use any of the distro companies, but when I use DistroKid, any type of issues I had, I can go in there and I can change it real quick, no issue. But TuneCore, I got to email people. I got to like have these full on conversations and get like confirmation and do like work with a support team to make all these unnecessary changes. It is getting annoying at this point. So, but yes, Control Chaos, August 22nd, will be releasing on streaming platforms. This will be the album, the mixtape I released was supposed to be. I didn't expect to have the studio up in the house before the baby showed up. So the wifey got everything set up in here on time and got the chance to record and have some collabs with TJ the Gamer, Zap, and then also have some production from my man Sandstorm as well. So I mean, it's gonna be a big one. So I can't wait for everybody to hear it. And yeah, like I said, August 22nd.
All right, Shadow.
Got to hear it. Cosmos is trending for some weird reason. I think it's from that post that Nintendo put up. I just found that really interesting. But I guess my other alibi was the Xbox 360 store is closing tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you guys got y'all last minute games or whatever. It's stuff on there for like $2 and whatnot. So yeah, like games that were like, we're talking about $60 games back then they're like $2. So yeah, go on there and grab
Whose store?
whatever you need to get. And
Whose store?
The 360 store.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, at some point, like even if you got a physical copy of the game and a disc scratch or something, you might want to go on there and look because it might be for the low. So I will highly suggest everybody run over there. I know I'm going to be scrubbing through it tonight before midnight, and then I'll just try to re-download stuff on my 360 arcade I got in the corner over here, and try to play some of that stuff. Cause some of that stuff is not compatible, so it's not on Xbox One or Xbox Series. So
right.
And some stuff is locked exclusively to Xbox Live Arcade, so it would never be released again. So
crazy.
I would highly suggest people run to the Microsoft Store and try to get whatever you can for all my Xbox heads. Other than that, I said every week on a channel I did. So I'm just in the middle of a lot of editing and a lot of life stuff right now. So, and I'll put it out whenever I put it out. I recorded a video almost like 3 weeks ago. So it'll go up at some point. And then when it goes up, we'll go from there. Then I'll actually relaunch the channel and then start doing podcasts again. But I don't want to do anything until I put the video up. So that's pretty much all I got. You play games, have fun, impress other people, all the other kind of stuff I run through before we leave these podcasts. That's it.
So next Saturday, don't forget we got the BIPOC Stream Awards. So I'm pretty sure Vicky and her crew is going to be putting tweets out and stuff all next week. So let's make sure we at least show up Saturday because I think well, they got a red carpet thing they're doing, so I don't know when it starts, but I'll retweet it. So I'll retweet it and I'll leave it in our Discord, so you know when that happens. I put some gameplay up of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splinter Fate, so check that out when you have a chance. And I'll probably put some gameplay up of First Descendant, and I need to do some live streaming. So I'll probably try to figure out a day next week to do that on as well. But we'll be back here next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, thank you everybody in the chat. We appreciate you for coming through and hanging out with us. And we'll see you guys next Sunday. Peace out, people.
Peace.
Union
Peace
out
out.
gaming.